Welcome back to the game of the day. Guess what? We're on Khylo again. I really don't want to be showing you Khylo back to back over and over and over again. In case you guys don't know, but Khylo is quite well renowned as probably one of, if not the worst map that you can currently play ranked in on Guild Wars 2. Not everyone shares that opinion, obviously, and people have it for different reasons. But it's a shame because Khylo's like the first map they added, so you'd think that this would be the one that they've refined the most. Now, it's not necessarily the nodes themselves that people don't really like. Clock Tower is a bit notorious because obviously it's had lots of changes and people are always resistant to change. Even as lately as a very recent patch, they added a change to the Clock Tower. They added some bridges there that wasn't even in the patch notes. The nodes themselves are quite fun to fight around actually. I've got some interesting kite spots. The geometry is pretty interesting, but like when it comes to the changes to Clock Tower, people don't like it. But also Treb, right? So the secondary mechanic on this map and the idea of repairing Treb and using Treb is all really fun and added different dynamics to the gameplay. And it's completely ignored and underused now. Nobody really touches it. The devs need to change Treb. I guess we could talk about that at a different time. But anyway, so we've done loads of back-to-back videos on a map that, you know, it really isn't that interesting. It's almost like it doesn't have a secondary mechanic. And I think that's a bit of a shame. I guess it adds a bit of a unique flair, but it's not by design, obviously. The only map that by design is quite simplistic is Colosseum, because its secondary mechanics all relate to the same thing, big team fights. So anyway, let's do the game of the day. I'm picking this Khylo game, not because it showcases any, like, particular, like, snowballiness or whatever. It's probably just a solid game. I can't remember it perfectly right now. But, I get some cool 1v1s in it. You'll notice down here, I'm actually trying out a different sigil. This is one of the things you can do to just improve. A lot of people think that when you play PvP, there's like a buildcraft moment where you build your build, and then there's the gameplay, and that's it. A lot of the time, though, I find that they're two sort of intermixed. Like, I'll do like 5 Qs on one sigil, and then I'll swap to another sigil for another 5 Qs, and then I'll swap to another. And, you know, you never make totally massive, drastic changes, but you can make small ones and see, you know, how your next 5 games compared to the previous 5. So right now, I'm running a Sigil of Intelligence, which is a really strange thing to run on a build with such high crit chance. But I have some logic for that. When I get my first crit, it procs an air trait, which guarantees me some fury. So the idea is that I always get the guaranteed crits on the plasma beam, which always rolls the fury, which means I get a perfect crit burst every single time. And this comes at the cost of extra damage when they're low on health, or extra damage when they're far away, or various other things, vulnerability on the spike. So here, same situation, we're coming up, we're looking over, it's a ranger. It's not some weird coincidence that the games of the day I've been seeing rangers on the far point or the close point. It's because ranger is a very strong side noder at the moment. Not necessarily soul beast, which you saw before, but druid especially, right? And we see that he's fairly meta druid. He's got the signet of stone on there. He's running the electric wyvern, so I'm never going to push that, ever. I'm never going to push a druid. You will notice that my warrior's going there, though. So warrior is the other extremely dominant side noder in the game at the moment. Both of these in the upcoming patch notes are suggested to be toned down, and very importantly, together, which is super important. But if anyone's going to contest that druid over there, it's going to be the warrior. So I'm not sure, like, perfectly skilled how this matchup goes all the time, but I click my ally here very specifically because I don't want to see any other class really go push that. Maybe a druid. If this was a druid on my team that was going to do this, this would be an infinite stall. And that would actually be kind of good for me because on my build, I'm, as I mentioned in a previous game of the day, like a very significant +1er, really. You know, I'll run over to a 1v1 that's in action and quickly swing it in my team's favor and then return. And there are other people that are better at +1ing. Fresh air isn't necessarily the best, right? Because it's slower than other +1 rolls. But we do hit very hard. So if this was a druid, it would infinitely stall, and I'd actually really like this because what it would give me confidence in is helping at mid and then running over a little bit later and guaranteeing that win. All my druid would have to do, or all my warrior has to do here, is make sure that the signet of stone on the druid is gone. If he can get rid of the signet of stone on his own, that's great. If he can't, when I run over, the druid will pop it and I'll be stuck there for at least 6 seconds, which is an enormous amount of time that thankfully is being nerfed in the next patch, so that's very good. But yeah, so this is generally okay for me, and I'm happy that it was a warrior I saw. If it was other classes, I would have been a little bit grumpy. But so we know that that's going on. We got that in the back of our mind. They put a warrior on mid as well, so another sturdy character. I really don't care about fighting that. He goes shield block. I do have Gale up, So I could Gale that and it would be unblockable, but to run a trait which automatically procs stability and nullifies the first stun, and makes them uncrittable. So it's just a gross trait. I'm not going to get through that immediately. Instead, I immediately refocus to whoever's going to be looking to unload their damage. You can see that I've got a Necromancer targeted, a Necro with lots of boons, which tells me also that there's a Rev in the area. So Rev should be pretty good kill for me too. You're going to find in a second that Warrior is not the build that I was expecting, by the way. So we burst the Rev. Revs have a heal skill, and here it is, called Infuse Light when they are Heralds. Sorry, Heralds have this heal skill. One of the reasons Renegade can't compete is because Khylo doesn't have such a significant heal. They get something called Infuse Light, right? Which means as they take damage, this icon here, as they take damage, they flip it into health. So essentially, they're invulnerable for that period of time, and against a build like mine, I could put him back to 100% health if I'm not careful here. So whenever you fight against a Herald, which we know he is, he's got crazy boom spam, we can see the facet icons and stuff on him, we stop doing damage as fast as possible, because so you can see I'm auto attacking with air right now. As soon as the infused light starts, I cancel cast. You'll notice that the channel still has some time to go. I cancel cast it using Stow Weapon keybind, and I move up round the side, because there's no point just like healing him there. So now he's behind the pillar and I'm LOS. So I come back around the corner. So that weird little movement there wasn't pointless. So I notice at this point that my team has pinged this Necromancer over here. So with a ping on someone, you can set up a keybind to just press that and you'll automatically target them. So it's T for me. I think I'm going to mess up not doing this ping. Let's watch this through for a second. Yeah, so here I think I'm actually trying to use some skills. Maybe like a plasma beam or something, but I don't have them target. I've still got the Rev targeted, who's moved away. So that's pretty bad actually at the moment. I think a bit of a noob moment here for me. You can see me mousing over. Yeah, and I'm not using the stuff. So now this is kind of dangerous because the plasma beam is actually not going to work now. I may have missed my opportunity. The plasma beam is not going to work because easy line of sight. My other stuff's not going to work. My only choice here really is to lightning flash up. But if I lightning flash up, he could instantly, like, fear me off or weakness. If I get weakness on me, it just completely destroys my build, and Necros can push it out extremely quickly. So, in truth, this might not be a good opportunity. I think I'm going to bail out of this now, actually. I'm not even going to go for it, because I messed up with the ping. Yeah, so I ignore this now, and I look back at this close fight, okay? So we still have the Rev targeted, but I'm looking over here at the 1v1. Remember, by the way, that as much as I, on the red team, can run back and plus this, the blue team could too. It represents opportunities for both sides. So I go over here, we hit him with infinite range static discharge there. It was a total accident, it's just a part of the thing. And here's what's beautiful. No Signet of Stone. So my warrior has successfully broken the Signet of Stone. That's all the warrior was ever asked to do. And then as long as I'm good at my job, I mean, how long did that take me? 3 seconds to get from mid to here? We take a burst. Clean, efficient, +1. We take it. We don't stomp. We let the person in the 1v1 take the stomp. We let him take full cap. If this ranger died off node, you could even try rotting him. Obviously, he's a ranger because he's got the pet, and he died on node. So warrior takes the stomp. Warrior takes the full cap. And what's beautiful about this is when their ranger respawns, he's either got to go back into this 1v1, which would be terrible, by the way. As a druid, you don't want to really go for that. Not against a warrior, especially, well, not on an enemy cap node. Or the ranger is going to be pushed into the mid-fight, which we are about to swing, hopefully, as long as my team isn't dead already. And then any of our guys that are dead can aggress the druid as he goes back to our close. So the druid's like in a really nasty spot now. Okay, so that's a really, really nice play. You notice that's the only points we've got on the entire game, because they insta-cap mid. We had a 1v1 going on our close, which they just straight up won, I think. And then we had that. This is the only points we've got. 5 points from that kill. So we come back in. I've got a lot of juicy targets here. My plasma beam is not off of cooldown from the previous +1, though. And I get scared right off of the mid node. You may have noticed there, I was actually being attacked by a rifle warrior. So I've now realized that that warrior is not a normal strong build. And he's having some fun, which means we can have some fun. So that's good. The Rev pushes me around here. I actually think I could have been... On watching this footage back, you often find out all your weak points. I think I played not aggressively enough. I think I gave up the mid presence way too quickly there. So the warrior's super low. We take probably an overkill burst there. There's a Scourge portal here, by the way. There's a lot of interesting plays you can make with these, like a lot. I love seeing Scourges run these. I don't even think it's particularly strong, but I love seeing them run them. So here, this Scourge dropped off of the mid node. If this bridge didn't still exist, by the way. I'm not saying that this bridge was a bad addition to the game, but if this bridge didn't exist and the Scourge hopped off the node and did this portal, our entire team could skip straight up here, and it's, I don't know, it's kind of cool. And we get barrier from it as well. I think I was probably trying to go through it just before it dissipated there. So Necro comes up. Necro's low. I'm on FGS because of the cleave. It's not a particularly good FGS on at the moment, honestly. They're all near me. But obviously I'm scared. We all know how squishy we are on this build. Here's the Rev. We take another 3 through him. It doesn't really land. It doesn't do anything. FGS has been kind of nasty right now. Not very good plays from me here. Again, I could have targeted the Necro earlier and we could have got the kill. We still get it. But I'm pretty outnumbered now. I've got a warrior on me, and I'm going to go down. So that's a shame. Yeah, we're rewatching that. I really think there's a lot of other things I could have done. So here you see I've got Vapor Form up. I could use this. I guess I do, just to delay it a little bit further. Truth is, I probably shouldn't use that there. It's sort of like when you're a warrior and you have Vengeance up, but no opportunity to do anything with Vengeance. It's better to just not Vengeance, because all I did by Vapor Forming there, all you do by Vengeancing, is increase your respawn time, really, don't you? And you don't want to do that. You want to, like... Unless, like, your team's staggered and you want to increase your respawn time so that you respawn with them. But yeah, so I rotate to the close point, which is completely abandoned. I notice that there are fights everywhere else, so we can take a free close here. Very close game. It's a pretty fun game to watch, actually. Close games like this are cool because there's opportunity everywhere. When you watch footage back, you'll always see, like, things you could have done that would have meant it wasn't a close game at all. So that's nice. Bit boring. This build, really, I don't like taking full caps very often. I'm so vulnerable standing around for so long. On this map, you get nice big open lines of sight on the side nodes. So this build's really strong there, and I don't mind it too much. But on, like, Skyhammer, taking a full cap on side on Skyhammer is nasty. So, Lightning Flash, bit of a repeat of a moment ago there. We Swirling Winds. You'll notice here, right, I don't have stability. So if the warrior throws his hammer, everyone in downstate has a skill that will interrupt your stomp, right? The warrior has a hammer. I don't have stability, so he could knock me down. I also didn't blind him with the 3, but I did drop a Swirling Winds. Swirling Winds deflects projectiles, and the hammer is a projectile. The hammer, along with the Engineer 2, they're both projectiles and both probably the weakest skill 2s in the game, right? But yeah. I can show you some more interesting stuff that you do with swirls with regard to the downstate later. By the way, I'm pretty sure, as I said in the game of day yesterday, this is no line of sight because this is an actual jump down here on the roof. So I wanted to help my guy there, but he's dead already. You notice our team's in a pretty strong position. This guy's died, so this node we're going to lose. Mid, we've just won, so we're going to get that. So we're going to have a solid 2 cap, but there's going to be heavy incoming towards it. So worst thing in the world for me to do right now is run over there. My guy's dead, right? It's too late. If I go over there, I'm going to get 2v1'd. So, as much as I want to burst that Rev, it's not a good idea. My Scourge comes up, really good from the Scourge here, because what's he doing? He's on the intercept. He's hitting them on the roads. Because they got to get to mid, or our close point. So why not just take some free damage, right? And that's exactly what we're doing here. Here I use Hurl against the Warrior, which is my Earth 2, which throws out lots of little projectiles. Can be a very good supplement to my Spike. Is often bad against Warriors, though, because when they go shield stance, they reflect, and then it just comes onto me. See this 3 bleed? That's my own ability. He doesn't even have any kind of ranged attack that could come up here. He just reflected mine. So, bit annoying. But yeah, so we blow some cooldowns there on the Warrior. That might look like a useless thing I did to the Warrior there, but we blow some cooldowns. I'm pretty sure I saw an Injure Pain came up. So we know he's crossing around. The close fight's already opened. It's Hollow v Scourge up there, so it could swing either way. We've got 3 incoming to 2 of them. So this is a 3v2. This is still technically like a +1 situation for us because we're investing heavier. Oh, and we've got a guy on respawn. This is Major Zerg. This is a bad play from me. The guy's freaking out pinging mid. This is a bad play from me. I was the last one over as well. I should have stayed at mid and helped mid. Because we have a massive over-zerg. Even better, this warrior did very well here. He noticed we massively over-zerged and he bailed immediately. So he gets to collapse mid now against our poor Necro. Bad plays here. I kind of like watching this back. I think it helps me get a little bit better. So we blink up. I'm not interested in contesting that node. I'm just interested in scoring a kill. Ranger's Signet of Stone is back up already. And that looks like a big outnumbered. I go for a decap. A lot of this is questionable, honestly. So our poor Necro is dead, the one that assisted us on the roof earlier. And it's not his own fault that he's dead. Well, there will have been something he could have done, but we never made life easy for him. So, as a result of the bad plays that you have seen yours truly make, I'm now pushed into a 1v1 against a warrior on his capped node, which is not ideal for me. If I'd played this right, we would still have our 2 cap, and we'd be okay right now. But now we don't. And we're kind of against the back of the wall. So I don't like taking 1v1s on warriors. This is one of the only maps I do like it, though, because as I showed you from the developer 1v1 yesterday, I can win if I can kite around. He still owns this, so this is, like, really bad. I would always question a fresh air Ellie that goes against a warrior. However, there is one thing on my side. I know that this guy's running an extra signet, and I know that he's running rifle. So, I want to show you this as the game of the day, because you're going to see a really weird 1v1 against a rifle warrior. So, he's thrown his mob on me. This is a setup for his burst. That's all. And I think he used it. I haven't played warrior since they warrior rifles since they retooled it ages ago, but he's got like a rollback now, right, as well. That's the skill 5, I think. He used to be shield bash. Not shield bash, rifle butt or whatever that knocks someone away. So, he's moved away here. And here you'll see that signet's now disappeared, and he's put this on himself. So this is unblockable. You're going to see me mouse over it in a second. And he's given himself quickness, haste, and might, which I know is from Frenzy. So he's running, like, for his utilities, super aggressive stuff. There's no, like, great anti-Condi here. He might not even be on Endure Pain. We know at least 2 of his utilities are dedicated to bursting the hell out of me with a rifle. So, what's amazing about unblockable, you guys might not know this, and the game should do better at telegraphing this, is it also means that you can't be reflected, and it means that you will go through projectile deflects. So, stuff like swirling winds, and, you know, like, what is it, Sanctuary for the Guardian, or Walls of Reflection, Ventari, Bubble Reflects, all that stuff, Dome of the Mist, just from Rev in general. It will go through that stuff, which is really good, and I think it's important. It's just not, I think it just says unblockable. It doesn't say, like, we'll go through deflects and whatever, because I think that's specifically a different term. So, ordinarily, my best play is to run Magnetic Wave here to reflect his stuff, and he'll kill himself. But I can't because he's unblockable. So, Obsidian Flesh or a dodge roll is my only savior here, really. But a dodge roll I can't really damage too much through. So, the best thing to do right now is the Obsidian Flesh. Honestly, Magnetic Wave is great as well, because he's put 18 vulnerability on me. I'm not sure if that came from the warrior, or from the rifle, sorry. Or he's also running on my mark, which is getting buffed next patch, but that's kind of hilarious. He might be running triple, like, aggressive utilities. So, let's see what I do. I Obsi Flesh first. I take the heal during the Obsi Flesh. Remember, the unblockable will time out. So, my Obsi Flesh counters it very well. We save the reflect, because once the Obsi Flesh is gone, once the unblockable is gone, I can reflect him after the duration. You know, I can start reflecting again. So the unblockable runs out. Immediately as the unblockable runs out, I run the reflect. It doesn't matter because he swapped to a melee set here. But melee set, we're a super speed fresh air Ellie. This is the situation we like to be in, right? I've been plussed by a rev though, so God, the real-time version of me has noticed more stuff than the post-commentating version of me right now. So I FGS and bail out. Christ, when did I notice I was getting plussed by that rev? I just impressed myself. How arrogant is that? All right, so there we go. We heal again. One of the reasons I really like the glyph, by the way, it's got a solid quick heal. If I was on Ether Renewal, my first heal wouldn't have finished in time. And it would have cooled down, but I would also be caught doing that as well. So the rev keeps pushing me. I just turned a +1 from the rev into a kill for me because of FGS. Let's watch that again. Let's watch me kite out of that again. That's probably going to be interesting to watch. So we go, we're in the 1v1. We take the thing. Here we see the rev. Oh, it was he blinked in, right? So now we're kiting out. So this is a defensive FGS. I haven't shown you one of these plays. I really hate to do this. If I don't get away alive now, I'm going to be angry. I'm going to be upset with my gameplay because this is such a powerful tool. If you try and defensive FGS and it doesn't save your life, one of the worst mistakes you can make is a fresh air Ellie. You have to be confident you'll get out. And I can tell you for a fact, I was not confident I'd get out. Look at this. I've got down stunned. I've got the cripple on me. I've got chill on me. And there's two very aggressive people in my face. I'm stunned, by the way, because of Shocking Aura from this guy. From the Rev. I wonder what elite he used to do that. So we take the dodge. Oh, I got stunned because he rotated into the protection form of the elite before doing the next. I've got the lightning flash. I pull away. Rev is on 74% health. He's still hungry for me. We know he's going to blink in. This is why my camera is looking back here, by the way, because he could be hungry for me. I go for the heal. We dodge. Just panic dodge. So he doesn't get the kill there. We use the 3 through him. We double tap air. We use an arcane blast. We get a burst. We cleave him with the 5. We hide behind the hut just in case he's auto-attacking us. Turned out he wasn't, so we swing back through. We finish him off very quickly with another 3. We resume probably our course to far now. Yeah, there we go. We go. Oh, no, and then we see that the warrior's pushing far. Warrior wants to be doing that. Obviously, he won his 1v1 against the druid there at the start of the game, so he's excited about that. I see that they have an enemy warrior sneaking through near our spawn. The Necro might see it as well, or he might notice my weird positioning and think, what's this guy doing? So me and the Necro gang up on this guy. He is Spellbreaker, so he has a bit of mitigation through full counter. Big panic elite there from my Scourge. I really don't think Scourges should use that. I think Scourges should save their elites for when they're over a downstate enemy. Here we've got the Druid. I'm happy to take the fight because I don't see Signet of Stone on him. So we can actually score the kill. He's also in bow and we hide in the Swirling Winds. Random pet knockdown, most irritating thing in Guild Wars 2. We actually come back up to this spot now. I think on, yesterday's video? I showed you this with how it's strong versus steals, Mediguards, that kind of stuff. I actually do it here, probably because of the pet knockdown, actually. I can't know 100%. But because it's strong against pets, you'll actually notice that smoke scale now. The second I came up here, it ran off, because what it was doing was pathing to come all the way down and up the stairs. But now I'm stood in, a total area where it doesn't even know what to do. The smoke scale actually has that Revenant 3 ability as well, Unrelenting Assault, which it also can't use here. But against any kind of pet, really. I mean, if that was a bristleback, we'd have to, obstruct it and line of sight it. But, yeah, it's just generally good against pets. If you're going to be fighting a range on a gangplank like this, then fight him. Just quickly stand up here. You can always think about stuff like that. And pets are so annoying, you should use any counterplay you like. I don't think this really works for me for very long anyway, though. But you can see I actually take a bit of pressure off of myself. We see the warriors coming in again. I'm very scared of the warrior now, knowing that he's on rifle and whatnot. This is pretty gross. I'm just trying to bail away. So here's a cool play. Most people will panic blink back onto the gangplank, but because he's staff longbow, I don't really see the point of that. I don't really see the usage of that. Maybe it was a free cap node, but I'm also concerned somebody might still be there. So instead I actually take for the alleyway. This is a really good spot to kite around. Really good. If they're on one side of it, it's brilliant. Especially against this build, by the way. This build gets utterly destroyed by this gangplank. So remember this. He goes up there, and I shake him just because the opportunity cost for him to spend all this time running circles with me here is annoying. So, we got the warrior. The warrior is really, really wanting these side fights, which I don't think is a good idea for him on his build. But so, we see how we go. So, we use the reflect early. I don't want to use that reflect early. You'll see that I actually waited a second because he's got his signet up. So, he could counter my reflect now with the signet. And Obsy Flesh is on a very long cooldown still. So, this is a gross 1v1. I don't want to be in this 1v1, really. I rotated into it. The node is still newt, so whatever. He gets full cap. You'll notice that I'm not on the node trying to contest that. There's no point. That's suicide for me. Suicide is worse than giving them a couple of points. I have to win the fight, right? So we come around here because now the reason I'm playing so defensively here and I'm moving right away from him is because I knew his signet was up, and indeed he has just popped it. But I had no defense. Swirling Wind is not a defense. Nothing's a defense. So I come behind this rock to line of sight him so that his attacks would hit the rock instead of me. I could have done the staircase as you saw in the game yesterday. I could have come around here, I suppose, as well. But then, I don't know. It leaves me up to some open, frontwards aggression. So now he comes around. So now his signet's gone. I Swirling Winds. Walk immediately out the Swirling Winds because he's on a melee set. He can't do anything. I take a burst. He uses both of his defensives. That's the full counter into the shield block. He's on a melee set, so I climb on this pipe. I can jump from this pipe onto this. And unless he makes the same jump, which has to be a jump dodge or super speed, and I know he's not on Featherfoot Grace, by the way, which is a spellbreaker skill that gives you super speed. As long as he's on the melee set, I can kill him here. I can take a Fresh Air Weaver, as long as it's like the current meta spellbreaker, can take 100% 1v1 on Windmill. 100% as long as they climb on this. And then they stop the Spellbreaker from jumping across with Featherfoot Grace. because they can't do anything. This doesn't obstruct. They got no other great lines of obstruct. They move into this hut, you go for decap. They come out of the hut, you climb back up. They go into the hut, you go for decap. And if they just stand here, then they die. But anyway, this guy's a rifle warrior, so it doesn't matter too much. I'm not going to go for that jump. He's back on rifle here, so we push forward because we know it's safe and it's fine. We keep going the damage. There's a full counter. I dodge away and immediately cancel cast because I don't want the attack from proccing that full counter attack to kill me. He's back onto a melee set again, and he goes down. So, this isn't a particularly impressive 1v1 for me, because this is a super aggressive, like, warrior, right? So you'd expect him to lose 1v1s on a sort of a YOLO spec like this. So here he's Vengeance, and he could kill me in the Vengeance, obviously, so I'm scared. I could be stood on that node full capping right now, but I don't want to do anything. So it's not that I'm playing impressive, it's just that there's some fun, like, counterplay and skill commentary that I could do here. So we have that. There will be one more 1v1 with him before the end of this game, and I'll just let it roll through so you guys can watch that. So, really cool. We move up here to the mid-fight, and these have been some pretty big plays, right? If you actually win a 1v1... at any point and score a node, and you do it in a quick order of time, they're very, very, very strong plays for your team. You're basically 1/5 of your team has just secured 33% of the map. Think of it that way. It really is that powerful. So we take a kill on this guy. The other warrior's back. I'm not even very confident in swells right now. I go for the FGS cleave. We get a 10k cleave here. Really aggressive from me. My Necro takes the blood transfuse pluck res, which is super strong. Super strong, by the way. Makes Necro... actually, it's currently, since the Scourge nerfs and the curses and what, the raw damage potential and counter playability going up because of the tails and stuff. Since that, really the reason Scourge is so strong at the moment is the blood build for solo queues. So the warrior goes again. I mean, I really don't think he's rotating very well here. So I go into the fight. I don't actually want this, so I type no to him. I don't think he wants this either. Nobody wants a repeat 1v1 that they've just lost, no matter how competitive they are. Well, it depends how much they want to win the game, actually, I guess. So this one's a really simple kill here. I think he was holding the unblockable, maybe, trying to soften me up first because he knows it's so important to get the kill shot. You got to remember, he needs adrenaline to do it as well, so his big burst, you haven't seen that once this game. So he wants to save the Signet for that, so for all these different reasons, it's really tricky for him. Even though he's running a utility that sort of counters a lot of my capabilities, which is projectile hate. He's better, like, being perched, overwatching a mid-fight or something, I think, rather than pushing aside. But so, yeah, we take that. We still, as an individual, hold 33% of the map. The rest of my team is able to start scoring kills. Here, you know that really stupid FGS a second ago? That was totally unnecessary. This is, I remember very clearly at this point, I was thinking, oh, I wanted this FGS. So we've got a down, they've got 2. I want the kill, basically, so that we get the big rally. We get a straight-up res anyway. I can't say that I noticed that in the moment. Warrior's back. So here's another thing you guys are seeing. You see how quickly these the warriors come back to me every single time? It's because I've had to instant stomp him every time. This is why it's so important to rot a body. Putting him like an extra 20 to 30 seconds on respawn is great. So here's a Rev. Rev is not very strong. Rev is like one of the weaker classes in the game at the moment. This is basically the 2018 version of classic power Rev we're looking at here. Except he's running sword offhand because of the retooling of it. It's really bursty. You saw me evade or avoid getting hit really hard by the sword offhand. And here's the rot, right? He died off node, so here's the rot. Because I avoid that, it's basically GG for me. He can chain a lot of, like, sustain stuff, but just not enough, really. So, yeah, we keep him off node. He's not even auto-attacking us or anything. He could have pressured us and forced us to kill him earlier if he'd been doing that, but he's given up with the game. And you see, through us winning 3 consecutive 1v1s on a side node, our team proper snowballs to victory. So this shows you the strength of being able to pull that off. The importance of knowing where to rotate, what your build can actually do. If you're on a build that can't take 1v1s very well because it's very gimmicky, like mine, like the Warriors build was, like you are if you're a Rev, really, let's be honest, Rev's kind of weak at the moment. Really, you want to take team fights more often than not. And so, yeah, we get the win. Maybe there's a lesson or two to learn there. We take 200,000 damage, 272. As I mentioned before, the previous game of the day where I was on like 600k, like, we carried this game. This was a good carry game here. And we're not even at 300,000. So to get a game with 600,000 is huge. Also, you'll notice the timer, okay? It's 3 minutes left on the clock, so this was quite a long game as well. And this is the kind of damage we do. This is a great representation of the fact that fresh air does not do much damage. You guys are going to try to remember that spike damage doesn't mean a lot of damage, okay? Other people will have got tons more. So the only thing we actually get top of on this, and this is cool as well, is kills. +1 is generally, this is the medal that they'll get, right? Big team fighters and damage carries in team fights, like Scourges currently are as well. They'll be the ones getting top damage all the time. Supports will be getting top heals. Top defs, they don't ever give you a gold medal for, and we can ignore. Top reses will be coming from your supports generally. Team fighters generally and 1v1ers will be getting top offense and top defense. Top kills is what the +1ers get, generally speaking. And so we fell perfectly into our role there, even though we were taking some 1v1s. And yeah, that's the end of the game. So, we got a nice +11 from that as well, which is pretty good. So there you go, guys. That's the game of the day. No bonus clip for this one. I've got tons of different things that I could show you, but maybe we'll just save those for the next day. So there you go. We'll try and find another map as well very soon, I promise. And I will see you guys very soon.